because end of this talk, I'd like to convince what is the importance of taking a scanogram. That's very important. Because this is not like a fancy name, but you can see this coronal plane alignment of the knee is one thing which slowly it's picking up, and this will become a common tool for a arthroplasty surgeon. It's going to become a common tool. I would like to give a highlight about what is CPAC. The basic taxonomy in the modern alignment is basically the two alignment concept. One is a fixed alignment, second one is a patient-specific alignment. But before going to any alignment concept philosophy, the understanding of the native alignment is very essential. So we all know that in the recent days, the too many philosophies alternated to the mechanical alignment, and the basic has arisen from the concept by the constitutional alignment, from which all the different alignment philosophy has come up. So what is a native alignment? This is basically in regard to the coronal plane anatomy. So basically, all we routinely measure is the mechanical hip-knee ankle angle. So that's what we routinely measure from the center of the femur head to the center of the knee and center of the ankle. This was a routinely mechanical HKA. So what we know to understand about the CPAC is the two terms. That's very important. One is a LDFA, another one is MPT. It's very simple. It's not a complex one. But once you start to understand about this importance, you can easily apply in your practice so that you can easily classify which type of knee you are routinely dealing with it. So the normal MPT is a medial proximal tibial angle. The usual average is 87 degrees. LDFA is a lateral distal femur angle. It's average 87 to 88. So in orthopaedic knee, it's very difficult to measure the constitutional varus just by placing a drop of mechanical HKA. You're not addressing anything what has happened the pre-orthopaedic condition to the particular knee. So to know that constitutional for the particular knee, or what we call it as a pre-orthopaedic condition, we need this two parameters. One is a LDFA, another one is a MPTA. So we call it this as an arithmetic HKA to calculate which type of the alignment the patient had in the pre-orthopaedic condition, whether it's a neutral, varus or valgus. Same thing, the second important parameter, which is an independent variable to the overall lower limb alignment, is a joint line obliquity. So this is calculated by the same parameter which we had to add MPTA plus LDFA. This will give the joint line obliquity. So we are drawing the same mechanical axis and with a tangential line parallel to the distal femur joint line. If you measure the lateral side, which give the lateral distal femoral angle, and the mechanical axis of the tibia and tangential line in the proximal tibial joint line, the medially which we are measuring is the MPTA. So we are going to measure with the help of full length scanogram. With these two parameters, you are able to calculate this arithmetic HKA and JLO. So this is a very simple one, but easy to apply. So this is the landmark paper by the Bellaments. The history is very important. How we say the varalaru ramba mukkiyam அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி, the history of this constitutional alignment is very important. So how it's evolved in the last 12 years. In 2012, the John Bellaments groups, this scored as a very prestigious award, Chitrajan Ranawat Award. And this paper has come up with a very important message. The 32% of the normal healthy men and 17% of the women, they had a constitutional varus with a natural mechanical alignment of 3 degrees of varus or more. So in that, he raised a question whether these patients are they going to happy with this restoration of mechanical alignment. May not be desirable. And it will be unnatural for them. That's what the Bellarmine has highlighted in 2012. So this is another landmark paper in 2014 with Stephen Howell. Those who are doing robotics, they're very fond of doing this kind of philosophy. In 2014, he came up with a very unique paper describing the in-depth of kinematic alignment in total knee arthroplasty. And 2018, in Taiwanese group, they tried to mismatch with a different combination, but they took these two parameters, MPT and LDFA, and they found that they classified into 5 types of alignment. In this, they found that there is a mismatch exists between the mechanical alignment of the femur and tibia in common in both varus and valgus alignment. And even with the neutral alignment, the joint line obliquity exists in 40% of the cases. This is in 2018. So there are two things which we have to understand. One is a constitutional alignment. Similar to that, there is a constitutional laxity. That's very important. We have to, one is the alignment, second one is the balancing. The laxity, we had to restore. That's very important. In both flexion and extension, the medial laxities are less than lateral. We all know that. The medial side is being more isometric and constrained. So that's very important. You have to understand this constitutional laxity of the natural knee. So we are confused. So after invent of robotics and AI, too many philosophies in alignment other than the mechanical, anatomic, kinematic, inverse, restricted, adjusted, functional, and recently artificial intelligence induced alignment is there. So that's why we need a new classification system. This is by the McDessie group, and even you can see the Bellamans. They studied in a two ethnic population, one Australian and the other European group. In 2020, this is a landmark paper, the coronal plane alignment of the knee classification. What is the need of this new classification? One thing, the previous method of describing coronal alignment, they were not very clear and it's very complex. But they have not quantified this constitutional limb alignment and joint line obliquity. And which patient is going to benefit with this kinematic alignment philosophy. So that restoration of the constitutional alignment is based on this new classification. And it should be very clear, simple, and universal classification system. So that is the need of this classification. You closely observe this knee. We mark the mechanical axis and the joint line of the distal femur, LDFA, and the tibial mechanical axis and proximal tibial and MPTA. But if you see, I need 2 minutes of extra time to continue, please. And the mechanical HKA in a non-affected, non-arthritic knee. But when the arthritis progress, when the loss of cartilage, you notice that mechanical HKA is going to progress. But MPT or LDF is not going to affect, unless otherwise there is a significant bone loss, pre-existing bone loss there. So this is going to calculate and give a pre-arthritic condition of the particular knee. This is a very important slide. So if you understand this, you can able to follow other points, very important points. So we routinely take scanogram, we calculate the CPAC. So coming to the two parameters, the first one is arithmetic HKA. The boundaries for arithmetic HKA is if subtracting the MPTA from LDFA, if it is a neutral, you want to call it as a neutral, the center one, if it is a ranges between 0 plus or minus 2 degree, it will come as a neutral alignment of the knee. Anything which is minus 2, less than that, subtracting MPTA with LDFA, it will become a varus alignment of the knee. I am talking only about the varus alignment. Now I am not calculating, telling about the joint line. Anything which is more than plus 2 degrees, they categorize it as a valgus alignment of the knee. So coming to the joint line obliquity, we have to add these two parameters, MPT and LDFA. The neutral joint line, if the angle is 180 degree, when the apex distal, when the angle, anything which is less than 180, you can see in the first picture, the joint line is towards down, which is called as an apex distal. The angle is less than 180 degree. The same thing when the joint line is towards the roof, in the proximal, the angle, it become more than 180 degree, it's an apex proximal. This is the classification. So just see this picture. They grouped into the 9 phenotypes. This is one, the number is depicted in the picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. In this, the first column, you can see the varus, neutral, and valgus. Based on the arithmetic HKA, it's very simple to categorize it. So once if you know that, then you can apply the joint line obliquity. So in this, now you're going to place whether the joint line is neutral or distal or proximal. It's very simple. So first mark the 9 boxes in that which category your knee is going to come into your phenotype. That easy to mark. First calculate the arithmetic HKA, then JLO. So in their study, they found that the type 2, that is a neutral with apex distal, is the most common type. That's what they found in their McDessie group. And the importance of the study, they didn't stop only with the classification, but they validated with a surgical application whether which type of knee is going to benefit with mechanical and versus kinematic. That's a very important message from this study. So this is a type 1, but are we going to convert this into type 5? Type 5, which I already show, is a neutral alignment with a neutral joint line. But as per the CPAC, the most common type is a 31% they have a constitutional varus with apex distal. That means the type 1 varus knee is most common. So this constitutional alignment technique are going to challenge the common philosophy. We are going to the neutral mechanical alignment. That's what the concept of patient-specific alignment has come. We all know that basic of mechanical alignment, it takes perpendicular 90 degree to the mechanical axis, but it disregards the significant variability in the coronal alignment that exists across the each individuals. So this a concept of the kinematic alignment has come, but in the kinematic alignment, the surgeon should go with a restricted alignment safe zone. That is between the 86 to 93 degree to recreate the particular LDF and MPTA for the particular patients. That's very important. So based on that, they have given a few proposals for which patient is going to benefit with a kinematic versus mechanical. Type 1, type 2, and type 4, optimal balance with kinematic alignment. But they noticed one interesting finding with this, the intercompartmental pressure difference and bone recuts are high with mechanical alignment when they're dealing with a type 1 and type 2, type 3 valgus knee and type 4, especially with more with a constitutional varus. So the application, just for the audience message, if the less than 5 degree of constitutional knee varus, you can apply both kinematic versus mechanical alignment, but definitely you need a image assisted or robotic assisted thing to balance your knee. That's very important. I'm not telling that you're convincing with a conventional technique, but you need some robotic assisted. But when the constitutional varus is more than 5 degree, the Young et al. Found that when you are placing the tibia in varus more slope, it lead to a general tibial complication. You should be aware of that when you are dealing with a more than 5 degree constitutional varus. So usually it deals with a less than 5 degree constitutional varus. Definitely you can apply the kinematic technique in constitutional valgus also. But the advantage of using this classification, you can customize, and surgeon can define his restriction boundaries of arithmetic HKA and JLO, and which type requires which type of alignment technique. That's very important. But definitely it do come with certain limitations, and in the studies, they have an unequal sex distribution, but it does not correlate the knee phenotype and outcome. It's by the basically McDessie group. And it does not address the axial and sagittal alignment. It's only the coronal pale alignment study. That's one of the disadvantages of this study. And this is a study from India, published in Sunshine Group by a Malper. They did a phenotypic evaluation of Indian population. The commonest type in India, it's very important. You see, in the Western population, it's type 2. That's a neutral with apex distal. In our population, varus with apex distal. Type 1 is most common. And this is the outcome of their study, both in healthy and orthopaedic. This is our own publication. We published in Indian Journal of Orthopaedics. It shows us, even in South Indian population, the type 1 is the most common type of distribution. And we did a second part of analysis is that we analyze the outcome, because I am basically a mechanical aligned surgeon. I don't use any robotic, but we analyze the outcome, how this mechanical alignment. When comparison with previous studies, our study shows that the type 1 is the most common compared to the Western population. This is the outcome of our study, the similar distribution of CPAC type in compared to the Sunshine group. And definitely there is a notable improvement in the functional outcome, irrespective of the CPAC type using the mechanical alignment. But I'm not telling that this is a conclusive of that. This is my observation. It's a 2 years follow-up of my study. Yeah, we know that we'll everyday practice, we use the different alignments in our practice, but all knees are not same. But definitely we have to address this sagittal alignment also, flexion differential and coronal and recurvatum also. So coming to the final conclusion, the message is that whatever the technique you do, morphology you have to consider, soft tissue is very important, alignment. These 3 components you have to restore to get a good harmony in the normal knee kinematics. That's very important, irrespective of which philosophy you are going to deal. The take-home message, it's time to adapt the new classification for all the delegates. Incorporate the technology to provide a patient-specific alignments. That's very important. And CPAC should be used as a communication tool. That's very important among the orthoplasty surgeon. It's similar to the KL grading system. Like I'm dealing with grade 4 knee, grade 3 knee. So now we have to adapt a CPAC type 1, type 2, type 3 in future. It allows determine which patients most likely benefit from kinematic alignment, and further research required in Indian population, because the 150 robotics, the more than we are doing a lot of robotics in Indian knee, we get a 3D morphology. So the future research is definitely needed in knee phenotype classification. So just for the benefit of delegates, this is our paper in selective patellar resurfacing published in IGO. This is our algorithm. Thank you. Thanks.